Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a viewer spotlight. This is from Koran86 and it's his FCM 50T Ace Tanker game, and I think you're going to like this. It's a pretty interesting match. Now he's in the FCM 50T, which is it's not to everyone's taste. It's a tier 8 French premium heavy tank. It's a pretty capable machine. It's got the long 90mm gun, which is a feature of the French from tier 6 basically. It's pretty nice. It's got very reliable penetration, even at tier 8. And bear in mind, this thing gets limited matchmaking, so you're seeing tier 9s at most. I don't know. It's just a nice tank, and if you're a fan of mediums, it basically it kind of plays. It's a fat medium, is what I'm saying, and that play style is kind of relevant to the French generally, because at the higher tiers anyway, the French are more about being a bit kind of speedy and nippy and not taking hits, especially. Now, Koran, I feel he might be making a mistake here, because this is encounter mode, okay, and he goes towards the cap. He's I don't know what equipment he's got. He might have optics, something like that, because it's got a pretty decent base view range, this. But he's getting to an early kind of hold down position. I mean, an enemy that was down there could maybe shoot a bit of his tank anyway. But on the one hand, I can see why he didn't go up the hill. On the other hand, I think that's maybe a bit of a mistake, given that he's still top tier, and I think he could still have made a big difference up there. This isn't the most well-armoured machine, but in concert with other same tier tanks, it can make a big difference. But as it is, the situation is that the hill looks vastly outnumbered. There's quite a lot of their team up there. Most of the friendly team is rather spread out, and at the moment we're 4 tanks picking on a T-44, and that was an unfortunate miss. So it's not the best start to the game, really, to be honest. I mean, we've got a -1 on our team. I think they end up with a -1 on their team as well. So I don't know quite what was going on. Some slight derpiness. But we're just pounding away at this T-44. He's already done 1k damage, and you'd actually be surprised how quickly you can rack up the damage with this gun. It's only 240 alpha, but it's got a pretty reasonable rate of fire. The DPM's pretty decent, and like I said, it's pretty reliable in terms of penetration, in terms of the actual damage you can do. So he's going to look for shots over to his left, and of course from down here you get perfect shots at stuff on the hill. So side of a KV-5 and side of a Churchill 7. Well, the Churchill 7 is the easy target. You can still pen the KV-5, but bear in mind this is several hundred meters away, and he is actually slightly angled with his hull. So some of the shots are penning and some of them are bouncing, because it's a KV-5, what do you expect? He's going to put a couple of blind shots in, and the Churchill 7 is actually, you might wonder why he was switching to the KV-5 when there's a tempting Churchill 7. Well, the KV-5 is obviously the higher priority target there, so that's the one you go for. The Churchill moves just at an inopportune moment, unfortunately. KV-5 pops back into view again, and the guys on the hill haven't all died yet, but it's, I mean, it's 2 versus, what, 4, 5 tanks up there, so it's not good. It's really not good. So just continuing to plug away at this KV-5, and look how troll that armour is. And he's kind of at an angle. And yes, there's the Radio Man binnacle, but it's kind of a tough thing to hit at this range, even with this relatively accurate gun. So Koran actually switches to some APCR ammo, and you can see he's not exactly carrying loads of the stuff. He's only got 7 rounds total on tracks, unfortunately. And he's got a fairly decent shot at the binnacle, so he tries. I'm pretty confident that one went in. Of course, there we go, yes, we can see it did. He actually disappeared. That was a low roll, 206, and he might have a chance for one more, but clearly it doesn't kill the guy. So anyway, and you might think up to this point, well, he's just been sitting sniping and he's done 2400 damage. That's pretty respectable. The team isn't doing so well though. It's 3-6, in bearing in mind that we have a -1 on our team. There's also a -1 on their team as well, so that kind of evens things out, I guess, maybe. Koran's obviously, maybe he tunnel visioned on the KV-5. I mean, that can happen. You get so kind of, you know, absolutely focus on one target, and it can be to the detriment of... but he's noticed what's going on the rest of the map. He knows the SU's just fired, so he's gonna basically use his better rate of fire. He's obviously not quite sure what the reload on the SU is with the big dirt, but it's still something like 16 seconds, so... yep, there we go, pops out, takes the last shot. 4-8 now, and there's... they've got... yeah, I mean, Corran is going to have to do some hard work here, because they've got T-32, KV-5 and an IS-3 still alive, an IS and a KV-3, and even the KV-2 could do a bunch of damage. But fortunately for him, he's still got full health, so that's quite nice. Side of a... I always said KV-3 there, no, that's the IS-3. KV-3 is the other one. I think he this is another point where he does make a mistake. He could have basically saved that IS. If he'd fired just a fraction sooner, he could have taken the KV-3 easily. And there was just a bit of, I don't know, distraction, hesitation, whatever there. But, yeah, what's done is done. He's got this IS-3 to deal with. I think this guy might actually be ammo racked, I'm not sure. Just the length of time it takes him to shoot Corran. I'm pretty sure that guy was dealing with ammo rack damage, so yeah, that's kind of lucky. Also not that uncommon in an IS-3, depending. But Corran can finish him off, there we go, fairly easily. And we're approaching 4k damage. Have you noticed what's happened? He is now alone versus 6 tanks remaining, yeah. And he's got 4 kills and still a fair number of hit points, but even so... we know the KV-5 is very low health, so that's something. We know that... oh, there's the T-32, okay. And maybe another 2 shots we can have him. And he actually bounces a shell from the T-32 there, and it caught his arm at an auto-bounce angle. And I would class the... you don't really think of French heavies as having much armour, and I won't say that the FCM does especially, but it is capable of occasional troll bounces. And that was one of those cases where, yes, he did get that. So, there's the IS, who was also zooming in to try and help the T-32. Bit late. Unless he gets a high roll, he's not going to kill this guy with another shot. But he does get a nice high roll, 273, so that's really lucky. Going back to the gold now, and there's their arty, who fires and misses. And he said in his email that he sent to me that his hands were like literally shaking after this battle finished, because this is the kind of situation where you're aware all too acutely that just one slip up too many can really make the difference between a win and a loss, because this battle was on a... at this point it's kind of on a knife edge. If he'd taken a bit more damage, it could have gone either way if he'd missed 1 or 2 more crucial shots. So this is the kind of situation where your hands are shaking and your pulse is pounding away in your ears, and you just don't want to screw it up, because if you carry it off it could be so glorious, and if you don't carry it off then you're probably going to want to go and have a nice long lie down afterwards. So there's the KV-2, he's been spotted, and I don't know if this is intentional, but Corran goes this way, and then as soon as the KV-2 blips off his radar, which we can be reasonably confident that he's then blipped off the KV-2's radar, he actually turns around, changes direction. And I don't know if... I mean, obviously it was his intent to circle around the KV-2, but I don't know if that was deliberate subterfuge or if he just was going round that way and then suddenly thought, actually, if I double back on myself... So either way, he gets the KV-2's rear, nice big fat target, boom. And we're now down to just the KV-5, who we know is very, very low health. So, Corran could either... and you see there the enemy team actually praising him. Our IS was a bit sour for... I don't know, he called him a gold noob a couple of times. No. No idea what you're talking about there, Mr. IS. But anyway, the other team was praising him, because this was a hell of a performance, and... maybe he made a couple of mistakes, but yeah. So what he's going to do, instead of hunting down the KV-5, which is maybe what I would have done, he instead goes to the cap, and he's got enough time that he could cap on his own. I think this is more with the intent, though, of, you know, either the KV-5 is going to try and hide, in which case the FCM, you know, you can definitely chase down a KV-5, although even on a map this small, you might end up going around in circles for minutes and not find someone. So maybe this is the smarter thing to do. I don't know. But he's hoping that the KV-5 will take the bait. And if he can get the kill, which I think he's got a pretty good chance of doing now, he'll not only have a Pools medal, but he'll have a Kolobanov's medal as well for being alone at the end against more than 5 enemies and prevailing. So, yeah. Now you can see why this is going to be Corin's ace tanker game. This is quite something. We'll speed it up a little bit as we're just waiting for the KV-5 to show up now. And it's not terribly interesting. And there he is, KV-5. And he pulls back, so Corin's just going to go for it, because he might as well. He must know that he can take at least 2 hits from the KV-5. So he goes round and unfortunately, yeah, misses his shot, and then he aims at the thickest part of the KV-5's rear armour, and that guy is able to put another shot into him. This time, however, he goes for a spot he knows he can pen. Hell, he could have penned the front of the turret at that range, but he goes for the turret weak spot, and boom, finishes the guy off. That was... I mean, that was a pretty good performance. He does make some mistakes. I wouldn't say this was a perfect performance from Corin, but all things considered, that was pretty damn good. Ace tanker, like I've said, Pools and Kolobanovs, and of course the Top Gun. He walked away with 1,777 base XP, 10 kills, 5,928 damage. And remember, this gun has 240 average alpha. And for that, he got, let's see what it worked out as, because that was a ×3. He got, with premium, nearly 8,000 experience from one battle, plus 83,000 profit. So, yeah. The FCM, it's a pretty decent machine. It's not going to be to everybody's taste, but you can use that ability to good effect in quite a lot of battles, and that reliable gun. And Corin really did put it through its paces there, and I think that was a very, very well done. That when you're under that kind of pressure, it's so easy to slip up and make a mistake and think, if I throw this away, it's going to be so gutting. But Corin, he didn't crack. He kept at it. He plugged away. He did the damage. He played reasonably smart, and in the end, he came through against what you would have thought would be overwhelming odds, but no, he managed it. So well done there, Corin. That was fantastic. I should also mention Corin is in Circ 2, and clearly Circ 2 best Circ. I mean, we all know that. Of all the Circ clans, it's kind of obvious what the most superior one is. Yeah, cue the flame war in the comments there, because not that I'm occasionally a troll or anything. I just normally leave that kind of thing to Caption Guy. So if you enjoyed this replay, you can hit the like button below, you can leave a comment, you can subscribe to my channel, you can check out some of my other replays, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.